We are open to the next clean page in our math notebooks. Remember, if you're running out of room in your math notebooks, you need to let your parents know so they can buy you another blue notebook. You'll still hang on to this math notebook in case you need to look back through your notes, but then you will have enough pages for the rest of the year. So today, we are titling our page 9.5, Divide Fractions by Whole Numbers, and today's date, which is 2/24/21. So like I said earlier, yesterday we took whole numbers and divided them by fractions. Today we're doing the opposite, or the reciprocal, I suppose. We're dividing fractions by whole numbers. Give me a thumbs up when you are ready to move on. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, 5th grade. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Boys, you should not be whispering right now. Thank you. All right, still waiting for a thumbs up from a few people. Awesome. All right, are we ready to move on? Okay, so we're going to dive right into the steps just like we did yesterday. So today we're taking 1/4 and dividing it by the whole number 5. So 1/4 divided by 5. Yesterday we took a whole number and divided it by a fraction. Today we're taking fractions and dividing them by whole numbers. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready for our first step. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we ready? Awesome. So first step, just like yesterday, we need to convert the whole number into a fraction. So instead of it being before our division symbol today, it's after. So first step, we convert the whole number into a fraction. So 5 becomes 5/1. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up when you're ready. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, 5th grade. So just a little bit. Ooh. Thank you. Give you another moment. I see a few people finishing up the first step. Thank you. All right. So then our second step, keep the first fraction the way it is. So our 1/4 stays a 1/4. Now yesterday we got into the habit of, well, we changed the whole number to a fraction and then that's what stays the same because it was before the division sign. But even when that whole number is after the division sign, our first fraction is whatever fraction is there. It's not always the whole number. So that first fraction we keep the same. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, 5th grade, for letting me know you're ready. I appreciate it. Thank you. Raise your hand if you can guess what our third step's going to be. What do you think our third step's going to be, Elena? Exactly. Our third step, change the division symbol to multiplication. And you might be wondering, well, Miss E, why do we have to rewrite these steps again? Because when it comes to learning a new skill, it's important that we write down all the steps. Because as you learn more and delve deeper into the skill, those kind of basics can sometimes get lost with the new knowledge you're gaining. So having it written down is always the best way to make sure you have a place to go if you're like, wait a minute, do I always keep the whole number fraction the same, or is it the first fraction in the equation? So you can always go back and look at your notes. Thank you, Allison. Will, do you have a question?
So when we're dividing fractions, is there always going to be a place here?
Pretty much. Mixed numbers, it gets a little different, and we'll eventually get to that. But for fractions, yes. Yep. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready for step 4. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Is there anyone who needs more time? Okay. Awesome. So then, just like yesterday, our fourth step, flip the second fraction so it's a reciprocal. What's kind of funny is when I was creating these notes, I wrote flip the second fraction so it's the reciprocal, and then I just rewrote 5 over 1. It was kind of silly. So I had to cross it out. It's 1 over 5 now. So you flip the second fraction so it's the reciprocal. So 1/4 stayed the same. We changed the division symbol to multiplication, and that, our 5 over 1 became 1 over 5, or 1/5. Again, give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Do we all remember what reciprocal means? Yeah. When we flip the numerator and the denominator of a fraction, we find the reciprocal. It's like the opposite. Instead of 1 out of 5 parts, then we would have a 5. Yeah, we'd have a whole 5s. Yes, Jeff.
Well, the difference is, we'll probably take 5%, but how now that there's the ones at the top, and then the numbers that you multiply on the bottom.
Exactly. All right, so then step 5 and 6, solve and simplify. So, multiplying fractions, we multiply the two numerators together. 1 times 1 gets me 1. Then the two denominators together, 4 times 5 gets me 20. And 1/20th, we can't simplify anymore. So my answer is 1/20th. I'm going to move this up so hopefully it's a little brighter and clearer. A little bit better up there. So and after this, you can label your practice section underneath. So give me a thumbs up when you've written step 5 and 6 and you've labeled your practice section. I'll show that too. Awesome. Great job, fifth grade. That's great. I would like you guys to show me on your hands 1 through 5, just right off the bat before we do additional practice problems. How are you feeling about this? Okay. Does it help that the steps are really similar to yesterday's? Yeah. It's just instead of our whole number being on the left side of our division/multiplication symbol, it is now on the right side. It's after it. Okay. Are we ready for our practice problems? Okay. When I show them to you, get them written down, and then you can immediately begin solving them. I will know you are ready to go if I see you quietly and patiently waiting to correct them, or you're reading, writing, or drawing. Capiche? All right. Okay, so our practice problems are here. We have 5 again today. So number 1, can't really see the number 1, but number 1 is 1/2 divided by 5. Number 2 is 1/6 divided by 2. Number 3 is 10/4 divided by 5. Number 4 is 2/8 divided by 3. And number 5 is 1/7 divided by 10. So you can go ahead and start solving these as soon as you get them written down. ready to rock. Are we ready to look at these together? Does anyone need more time? Okay. Let's look at these together then. Okay, so our first step is to convert our whole number into a fraction. So what I usually do is I just right away put the whole number over 1 in the original problem. So 5 over 1. Then I need to keep the first fraction the way it is. So 1/2 stays 1/2. Then I change the division symbol to multiplication. And then I need to flip my second fraction so it's the reciprocal. So instead of 5 over 1, I have 1 over 5. Then I multiply across. So for my numerator, 1 times 1 is 1. For my denominator, 2 times 5 is 10. Can I simplify this anymore? 1/10 is my answer. Raise your hand if you got 1/10 as your answer for number 1. Nice work, 5th grade. Now let's look at number 2. So number 2, I need to turn any whole number into a fraction. Emmy, do you have a question? Okay, so I'm going to just immediately put it over 1. So then I keep the first fraction the way it is. Then I change the division symbol to multiplication. Then I flip my second fraction so it's the reciprocal. Instead of 2 over 1, I then have 1 over 2 or 1/2. So 1 times 1 is 1. 6 times 2 is 12. 1/12. And can I simplify this anymore? No. So my answer is 1/12. Raise your hand if you got 1/12 as your answer for number 2. Ulysses, book away. Awesome. Nice work. Now we have number 3. I'm going to scoot over a little bit so I have room for my hand on the side of the paper. So I need to make sure my whole number becomes a fraction, so I put it over 1. Then I keep the first fraction the way it is, so 10 over 4. I change the division symbol to multiplication. Then I flip my second fraction to where it's the reciprocal. So instead of 5 over 1, I have 1 over 5. Then I multiply across. 10 times 1 is 10. 4 times 5 is 20. Can I simplify this one? Yes. What can I divide both 10 and 20 by? Show me on your hand. What can I divide 10 and 20 by? I see 2's. There's a larger number that I can divide them both by. I can divide them both by 10. So if I divide them both by 10, 10 divided by 10 is 1. 20 divided by 10 is 2. 1/2 is my simplest form. Now, if you divided by 2, if you took 10 and divided by 2 and 20 divided by 2, then you would get 5/10. Then you would simplify it again. And you would recognize, well, 5 can go into 5 and 10, so then you would divide 5 and 10 by 5, and that would get you down to 1/2. So you can still get to the same answer if you pick a smaller number to divide by. You just need to make sure you keep simplifying until you can't simplify anymore. Zoe, did you have a question? Yes. Well, if you first simplified this by 2, then it would get you to 5/10. Then you could simplify by 5. If you simplified by 5 right away, that would get you 2/4, and then you could divide by 2, and that would get you 1/2. Yep. So you just simplify until you can't simplify anymore. Okay, so then we had number 4. So number 4, I need to convert my whole number into a fraction. So I do this right away. Then I keep my first fraction the way it is. I change my division symbol into multiplication. And I flip my second fraction to where it's the reciprocal. So 3 over 1 is 1 over 3. Multiply across. 2 times 1 is 2. 8 times 3 is 24. Can I simplify this one? Show me on your hand, what do I divide 2 and 24 by in order to simplify it? I divide them by 2. Yep, 2. So I would divide both by 2. Oh, 2, yep. So 2 divided by 2 is 2. 24 divided by 2 is, oh, sorry, I said 1 and I meant 1. 1 over 12, 1 12. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 24 divided by 2 is 12. 1 12. Raise your hand if you got 1/12 as your answer. Nice work. And finally, number 5. Richard, do you have a question? Okay, perfect. So then for number 5, I need to convert my whole number into a fraction, 10 over 1. Then I keep my first fraction the same, change the division symbol to multiplication, and then I flip the second one to where it's the, what's that word? Reciprocal. So instead of 10 over 1, we have 1 over 10. Then I multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. 7 times 10 is 70. How many of you got 1/70th as your answer for number 5? Nice work. I'd like everyone to close their eyes for a moment or put their heads down. Close your eyes, put your heads down. I want you to think about how you're feeling with dividing fractions by whole numbers and dividing whole numbers by fractions. Show me 1 through 5. How are you feeling? 1 through 5. How are you feeling? Show me your level of understanding. 1 through 5. How are you feeling? All right. Hands down. Hands down. Open your eyes. Quietly open up your math workbooks to page 555. I said quietly. I understand some of you may open your workbooks ahead of time. That's awesome, but you don't need to be talking over me when I'm trying to tell everyone else what the page number is. Page 555. 555. Voice is off. No. Oh, wait, for the fun of it, you can. Yeah, I don't have it set to do. So just like yesterday, 5th grade, if you want to do more problems than I tell you to, you can. You guys know when we're correcting homework, if you did another problem we didn't do and you asked me to show it, I will show it. Okay, so on page 555, you are circling number 1, numbers 8 through 11. So it's 8, 9, 10, and 11. Number 12 and number 16. I'll say it again. On page 555 and 556, you are circling number 1, numbers 8 through 11. So it's 8, 9, 10, and 11. Number 12 and number 16. Now make sure you have your notes out in case maybe you get tripped up. That's always helpful. I will put on work music. Nice job today, 5th grade.